period where, like I said in a few of my previous videos, we've got a lot. By the way, yeah, the background's changed. It's time. It's a period of travel is entering my life at this point. I spent the last couple of years sort of decide like so. My theory works like this. In a bear market, you want to be absolutely situated, right? You want to be focused. You need to be at a specific place for an extended period of time. In bull runs, you can now start moving around because you're not really going to learn anything in the bull market. It's just better to assume that you're not. You're not going to learn anything in the bull market. As the price goes up, you're just going to get more and more excited about the price. So really, the bear market is where you learn things, which is why you need to be in a specific set place for an extended period of time. Allow yourself the freedom to get bored. Allow yourself the freedom to recognize patterns. Allow yourself the freedom to navigate, understand what's going on. And for me, that place was Colombia. And I had decided to leave the United Kingdom. And really, before that, it was Colombia. I've been as most of you that have been following me know, I've been in Colombia for 6 years. And now I'm choosing to not be in Colombia. I'm not a fan of a nomad lifestyle anyway, so this little period that's coming up for me is extremely hectic and doesn't serve me in the best way possible. But I need to do it in order to discover where I want to be for the next period of life. Colombia served some important goals and things like that I had 6 years ago, and now it doesn't. So now I have to move on. I also don't agree with a lot of the political things that I've seen happen in Colombia over the last 6 years. And I think that's important too, right? I think it's the reason I left the United Kingdom is because I didn't agree with the direction that the political side was going in. And I don't believe that when I'm investing, let's say $90,000 to $120,000 a year to live in a country, and that's not including cigars, right? If I'm choosing to invest that in a country, I think I should get something for it, and that Colombia has not provided that at this point, right? For 6 years it did. At this point it doesn't. So therefore, time for me to move on. And I need to go and find where that place is going to be. And I've got some ideas, and I'm going to be traveling to different places to figure that out. I'm also working on 2 second citizenships and a passport portfolio of residences. And we can maybe talk about that in the future. But look, put it like this. A lot of people say, hey, the United States is the best place in the world. It's like, okay, like I don't like paying those taxes. Just take a spreadsheet, work out how much tax you're paying in the United States to live there, and how much, what the compounding is on that tax. Just take whatever tax you paid over the last 5 years, put it into a yearly purchase of Bitcoin, and then watch the compounding on that and see how you feel about that afterwards. I did that in the United Kingdom, and I didn't feel good. So therefore, I took some action and followed the law and decided to leave the tax web of the United Kingdom. Now, it's definitely harder for Americans to do that. Thankfully, Uncle Sam keeps you guys under wraps. So that's a positive for the rest of the world. Of course, I'm being facetious, but you got to think about it like this. Even in the United States, I've got friends who have moved from Florida to Texas. I've got friends who moved from Florida to California because they believed it would serve their goals and their desires better. I don't agree with the nomadic thing, which is like, oh, I don't really live anywhere. I just move around, don't build any community, don't do anything, go to Starbucks, and go do a little bit of charity work to make myself feel good and then keep it moving every 3 months. I don't agree with that. I think that there is a certain value in building connections, a certain value in building a relationship, a certain value in building presence within a country or a city, right? And I obviously have that now in multiple different cities around the world because of the time that I've invested, even before Latin America when I used to live in Asia. I can now land in certain cities and make phone calls and have good friends to speak to. no matter, depending on what I need. So I think that's important, but that's the period of my life that I'm now stepping into again. I've got a short list of places that I'll be visiting soon enough. I don't like talking about where I am, so you're never going to hear about it from me unless I change my opinion on that. But yeah, I'll be going to different places, different backdrops, different things like that over the next 6 months to 1 year to figure out where I want to spend, the next 4 to 6 years of my life, maybe longer, right? Now I'm entering a different stage of life as well compared to 6 years ago. So now I'm looking at something that maybe is a little bit longer, right? And actually, funnily enough, I would love to move to the United States. I love the US, right? As a Brit, I have that extra energy that comes with the United States and what it means, but there's no way that I'm going to enter the tax web of the United States once I calculate what that taxable amount is and the compounding effect on that taxable amount. And of course, I don't just have investment income, I've got, earned income too, so it's both sides. So that's the period of my life that's happening now. So the videos might get changed a little bit. You see different backdrops, this, that, and the other, whatever's going on. But we've also entered a crazy period in Bitcoin right now, right? So we've also entered the period in Bitcoin where, people are trying to make something out of nothing, right? This kid, Dylan, decided to blow up the idea that the DTCC had put basically 100% collateral requirement on Bitcoin. And it took off, right? Bitcoiners that just, oh my God, we can't margin Bitcoin. Oh my God, we can't margin Bitcoin ETFs. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Failing to realize that, this is how the market works, right? And I don't blame him. Maybe he doesn't know, but this is how the market works. Whenever there is a volatile asset, the market needs time to understand how to margin that thing. Because otherwise you can end up with systemic risks. And it happens all the time with stocks, right? So you'll have a stock, it suddenly gets volatile, and you'll get an email from your broker that says, okay, we're going to reduce the margin and leverage limits on this, and you need to make that up. That's a completely normal function of the market. And this is what's going to happen with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's going to go through an education process, not only for retail customers, but also for the market itself to understand how its volatility works. Do you think the market really wants to sit there and deal with an asset like this that's so volatile that now causes systemic risks for the lending within the market, the structures within the market? Of course it doesn't. So, but you're going to see periods like this where everything's going to be blown up out of proportion and whatever else, and big names are going to get sucked into this. But this is a completely normal function of the market. But what I'm excited about is the Hong Kong ETFs that go live today, in fact, right? The day you'll be seeing this video is Tuesday. So yeah, today, Hong Kong ETFs go live. That's going to be quite interesting considering there's no short side of the market there on the futures side. And there's a lot of exciting things happening here. But the main point why I wanted to make this video is to demonstrate that no matter how successful you get, there has to be an energy of, okay, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? And I think that's the right way to approach life. And so if you're sitting there with one Bitcoin, you should be thinking about what's the next Bitcoin? How long is the next Bitcoin going to take? You're sitting there with 10 Bitcoin. What's the next 20 Bitcoin, right? How am I going to get those? If you're comfortable living in a certain place, it's like, okay, is there anywhere else I can go to allow me to expand my life more with the people I love most, with the people that agree with the way that I think, et cetera, et cetera. All of these are compounding effects. And so, we are at a point now where the market is going to get interesting. There are going to be things that blow up that you just are going to look at and go, how the hell does this make any sense? It happened last time, and you just got to ignore all of it, right? Ultimately, your goal is to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible, and that's it. Everything else is a complete joke, right? You're dealing with a monetary network, which means people's opinions, people's thoughts, whether they like you, whether they're in Bitcoin or not, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how many dollars of the constantly expanding dollar empire are in Bitcoin. And so you've got to decide how many of your dollars that you've been given are you going to put into Bitcoin and own the scarcest asset humanity has ever created, not only for yourself, but for your future generations too. One of the things I would like you to do is subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be doing a video from a chat that I had with Luke and Peter Dunworth. And it, you know, I said a point, and it got me thinking even more and more about the lack of, you know, societal responsibility that Bitcoin actually allows Wall Street to have. So I'm going to do a video on that, and I want you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. But ultimately, there are always only 3 rules to Bitcoin. Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.